Welcome everyone to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park for the exciting semifinal rounds of the Bowling Showcase Challenge, Thunderbowl Lanes Region. I'm your host, Mark Martin. I want to thank you for joining me for this exciting series of matches. Here we are, the semifinals of the Thunderbowl Lanes Region. This year's Bowling Showcase Challenge is divided into two regions, the Thunderbowl Region and the Oak Lanes region. The Thunderbowl region started with 5 teams, and now 4 teams remain to continue their quest to be crowned the 2023 Bowling Showcase Champion. That brings us up to date. The semifinal rounds of the Thunderbowl Lanes region. Let's take a look at today's matchup. Today's match features Harbor Lanes against Plaza Lanes. Harbor Lanes is making their first appearance in the Bowling Showcase with a stalwart lineup of bowling legends. And Plaza Lanes, after winning last week's match, continues marching on towards the ultimate prize. It's a battle of bowling prowess as both of these teams set fire to the lanes. Both of these teams are one step away from the regional title match and getting the chance to compete for the championship. Today should be an exciting and competitive all-out battle. And joining me for all the action on the lanes is Thunderbowl Lanes General Manager Vicki Ingham. So let's take a quick little break and join me back at Laneside for the start of this exciting match next on Bowling Showcase. So here we are, week 2 of Bowling Showcase Adult Challenge here at Thunderbowl Lanes. Got 2 great teams today in today's match. Got Harbor Lanes and last week's champion, Plaza Lanes. But before we get started, I'd like to introduce the proprietor of Thunderbowl Lanes, Tom Strobel. Tom, thank you very much for supporting Bowling Showcase all these years. We greatly appreciate it.
Hello everybody and welcome to Thunderbowl.
Very good.
Hope you heard that.
Absolutely, we did. And so now up for the Harbor Lanes team on the left-hand lane is Zoanne Madonna.
Zoanne's been bowling quite a long time. She started bowling when she was 5 years old. Interestingly, she won a mixed doubles tournament with Mike Lucentes.
Oh!
Nice ball.
He's a solid 9-pin.
She threw a nice ball.
That was very nice.
Maybe a little nerve-wracking being the first bowler on the team to get things started on TV,
yeah.
You know?
She's the manager at Harbor Lanes, too.
She's a good bowler.
She's worked at Harbor Lanes for a good long time.
Oh, little tough. All right. Well, we have a miss for Harbor in that first frame.
Yikes. All right, Eric Riddle up for the Plaza Lanes team. If you recall last week they shot 258 and everybody on the team had 2 strikes except for Scott Bowersock.
Eric definitely started off with a strike last week's match. We'll see
did.
what he can do.
And a big
Mixed them
strike
right
here.
up.
Yep.
He mixed them right up.
Okay, bowlers, coaches, parents.
The next up for Harbor Lanes on lane 14 is John Osborne. John was born in Toledo on a high average of 209. He's got quite a storied past in bowling.
He does. He has a lot of good stories, but one interesting fact, he bowled in the NCAA finals back in 1978, which is pretty good. And it's going to be here in Detroit in 2024.
Oh, leaves an 8-pin.
He threw a nice ball as well.
That was very nice, John. He once coached for the Saudi Air Force team, Royal Saudi Air Force team. That's pretty interesting.
Did he put down what year that was?
From 1982 to 1984.
I think we kind of forget about how big bowling is in other countries and across the world. You hear about some of that in the associations and things that we're in, but you kind of forget about it when you're on your own little world.
Absolutely.
Looks good.
Covers it up easily. Christine Campbell of Livonia. High average of 211, and she's a hairdresser.
Yeah, she has beautiful hair too. So she's a hairdresser, very good bowler. She started off last week as well with a strike. They had a double last week in the first game.
Yep.
She tugs that just a little bit. Comes out okay.
Leaves the 610.
Seems like it hung up on her hand just a little bit. She knew it. When
It
the ball
did,
came off
yeah.
her hand.
Yeah, you could see her throw her hands up as soon as she threw it.
She was asking for help.
Well, she got help. It wasn't a split.
That's exactly right. Should be easy coverage for a good bowler.
Absolutely.
Although we know all spares can be challenging, and we've all had misses, so she plays golf as well.
Very good cover.
Beautiful.
Plaza with an 11-pin lead going into the third frame. Harbor Lanes. Tom Major up. Tom's got a couple of 300 games.
Tom's a big fundraiser for Special Olympics, and this past year at Thunderbowl, I've had a really good chance to interact with Special Olympics groups. They're doing a lot of bowling.
Nice.
Comes off his hand really good.
Leaves the 7-pin.
Leaves that 7-pin. I think that's one of my favorite things about bowling, Mark, is that bowling is for everyone. You can bowl your entire life as long as you can find a way to get down the lane. We host the Blind State Bowling Association tournament here at Thunderbowl. Had a great time last year. They'll be back again this year in the summertime. He changes balls as well for his spare ball.
Well, he covers it easily.
Well, we razzed Scott Bowersock a lot last week.
Yeah. Remember when we talked to Dave Krivitz last week at the conclusion, I asked him, what's going on with Scott Bowersock? We're going to find out if he's kind of got any, give him any tips before this week. Another 7-pin, but a different way.
Well, it looks like he did line up a little differently to try to get a different reaction, and he did, but ended up getting that 4 fell off the cliff there.
Yep.
So still ended up with a 7-pin. Easy coverage for Scott.
11-pin lead for Plaza Lanes. Mike Panuto up for Harbor Lanes here on lane 14 here at Thunderbowl in the Thunderbowl region.
Mike sure loves bowling.
Got a couple of kids, Nick and Nicole.
Mike's bowled in a lot of competition over the years.
Wow, he leaves a 7-pin.
They're throwing the ball good on lane 14 and
They are.
kind of leaving those corners.
Yep.
And even though they look a little discouraged when they turn around, they know how they threw it. And
So one thing interesting about Mike, interesting facts when we talked to him and asked him, I love the game.
that was his one thing. He wanted to make sure. I'd have to agree with that. I know Mike, and he definitely loves bowling. Easy coverage for Mike.
Yep.
All right, cheering his team on.
All right, Jacob Johnson now coming around.
Jacob had a strike last week on his first time up. Let's see what he does. He just started high school, came out of high school bowling, just started adult bowling, but he already has three 300 games in adult bowling. He's bowling the All-Star, so he's getting a lot of challenge.
I understand recently he shot 878 in the All-Stars.
Little tough shot
Leaves the
there.
4-6-7 split.
to the middle of the lane and got a little different reaction there.
So here,
This is a tough one.
Jacob, just get 2. Make sure you get 2 no matter what.
Have to get that pin count.
Absolutely.
Now I would imagine that Harbor's over there having a conversation about how they can use this to their advantage.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's going to throw it a little differently off his hand, but
It's 2.
he got that corner. Still smiling.
Harbor Lanes now has a 2-pin lead. Mike Luceni, the anchor bowler, recent Detroit Hall of Famer. He's in the Hall of Fame of the Senior Singles Open tournament run by Lou and Sarah and their group.
Mike was very excited to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I was proud of him. He's a great guy, super proprietor, PBA 50 bowler.
And he throws a strike.
And that's the reason he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yep. He's also been a teacher of bowling for over 50 years.
He really has. He's doing pretty well out on the PBA 50 tour, too. I mean, he's doing a good job out there.
Craig Johnson now up on lane 15 here at Thunderbowl in the first semifinal match of the Bowling Showcase Adult Challenge.
Craig definitely did his job last week.
He did.
Middle of the game and the end of the game. Looks good.
And a strike. Got a good match going. Harbor Lanes up by 2 pins at the turn here. Both teams working on strikes.
Well, they're going to have a couple of minutes to switch lanes, and it's going to be interesting to see if they play the lanes a little differently. Harbor all threw the ball very well, but they did lead some quarter pins. We'll see if they do a different strategy for the second half of the game. They've got a chance to climb up.
They do. Teams are going to switch lanes. We'll be back after these messages for the second half of this great match on Bowling Showcase.
The hug pickup, the home run swing, the drum major high step, the genuine joy, the unforgettable party, the food, the friends, the original social network. No matter who you are, it's always a great time. Grab your family, find a friend, and go bowling.
1-800-Lawyers has been winning cases for over 50 years in Southfield, Detroit, Warren, Taylor, Macomb, and all over Michigan. When it matters and you need help, call 1-800-Lawyers.
Okay, here we are back on Bowling Showcase, Thunderbowl Region. The Plaza Lanes team, a little bit of a deficit. MD USBC Association Manager Phil Goodman's going to talk to Dave Krivitz. Remember, I talked to Dave last week and congratulated him. Now they're behind, so let's see what their strategy is.
Yeah, and follow up to that, Dave, we were talking about how you got off to such a strong start last week. This week, a little bit slower. You still look good. What are you going to do in terms of strategy?
Well, we started out, it was exciting, knew something to get motivated. Now, settling in, got to refine things, have a technique, round out some edges. These guys are good. They're having a lot of fun. Hospitality is great. We'll weather the storm and look forward to success as we move on.
So good times and great strategy brings wins, eh?
Absolutely. Got to have a game plan to be successful.
Awesome. So back to Mark and Vicky.
Thanks, Phil. So teams have changed lanes. Harbor Lanes leads by 2 pins. This time, Plaza Lanes is going to be on the left-hand lane, so they're going to lead off the second half of the match. Eric Riddle coming up now.
Eric's done his job every turn.
He has.
You know, it'll be interesting to see if they make any kind of changes, because last week they had a pretty great game all the way through.
They did.
And now kind of not a struggle, but they're not winning, so they'll get it together. All right.
7 pin for Eric.
Now, he kind of shook his head yes when he came back from the line, so he knew how the ball came off his hand and probably knows exactly why that happened.
He knew it was a little late getting to the pocket.
Yep. Still threw the ball great, but...
Oh, yeah. But like we've often said on them corner pins, whether you're left-handed or whether you're right-handed, you know,
it's part of the game.
It is.
It's part of the game. It's kept a lot of people from a 300 game. Well, he spares that easily.
Zoanne's up. Back in the first frame, she threw a really good ball, left a 9-pin, and then unfortunately pulled it a little bit and missed it.
Yeah, she's going to be feeling like she really wants to bring it this frame.
Now's her chance to make amends.
Start them off. Yep, looks good. Oh, a little high.
A little high leaves the 6-10.
Little high.
Team down there cheering her on.
Well, they're working on their own strategy to come behind her. They know she's perfectly capable of getting this spare.
Yep. High average of 207 for Zoanne.
She coached high school as well, so she's been around bowling a lot.
And she covered that up.
Got to really thank those high school coaches. They put in a lot of hours.
They do.
Between practice and matches.
They do.
I get to see it here.
And many of them do it more as a volunteer than anything.
Absolutely.
They may get a little bit of stipend or something, but
it's
not
much.
About the money.
No, they definitely are doing it to get the kids involved.
Christine Campbell of the Plaza Lanes team leaves the 3-6-10.
Now, she came a little high there, Mark. Came out of it okay. But
she did, but she came high. If you recall, back in the second frame, she left the 6-10 back in the second frame. So
she's going to line up, and
it's a whole different week for Plaza Lanes.
Exactly.
Nice shot by Christine.
No problem for her. Still smiling.
That's right.
Guys are giving her the high fives.
Yep. John Osborne up on lane 15 here at Thunderbowl in Allen Park. Host center of the 2023 USBC Masters. That's still amazing to say that.
Well, we're pretty excited around here about it, that's for sure. Be a really great week of qualifying, starting with some open practice on Sunday, March 26th. Perfect.
Nice shot by John. Harbor Lanes extends their lead to 5 pins. Scott Bowersock now up. He's the king of the 7-pin. That's what I'm going to call him.
He's going to be working really hard to get out of that.
Oh, got it out that time.
He did. That 4-pin did its job.
But if you notice, the last pin that fell was a 7-pin.
It really was. If that messenger would have just gone around it, he would have had that again.
That's right. Tom Major up for the Harbor Lanes team on lane 15. Harbor Lanes working on a strike and extend their lead.
Oh, a double would go a long way, that's for sure. Well.
And he got it.
There they are.
Harbor Lanes now has a 15-pin lead with Jacob Johnson coming up for Plaza Lanes on lane 14.
Well, Jacob's going to be looking to redeem himself from his earlier turn.
He did. He left that 4-6-7 split back in the 4th frame.
He's an excellent bowler. He's going to definitely make a lane adjustment, though, and he's going to assume that they're playing the same.
Well, they did have a little practice before the match started, so.
And recovers just fine.
And he does.
Bigger smile this time.
All right, Mike Panuto. Okay, Mike, it's time to throw a strike to make sure your lead stays intact.
Mike left a 7-pin as well on his first turn of this match, didn't he?
He did. He did, but he
threw
covered
a really nice ball. Yep.
He did.
He'll look to strike. Looks good.
Big strike by Mike. Harbor Lanes still with a 15-pin lead. Both teams working on a double for Plaza and a triple for Harbor Lanes.
Well,
Craig Johnson's up on the on lane 14 for Plaza Lanes.
Well, coming into this final frame, everybody's got to do their job.
Absolutely.
Craig's going to want to stuff this first one.
It's going to be Craig Johnson versus Mike Luceni, mano a mano.
They're good friends. They've bowled together over the years, I'm sure.
Craig starts out with the first one.
Craig had a little hand motion going for a little mix-up. He wanted some mixing to go on.
Was that mean a remote control or what?
I think so.
What did that mean?
That's the equivalent of, yeah. I think he was helping.
Craig's got a high average of 238, and we asked him how long he's been bowling. It's a long time, like many of us.
He has been bowling for
over
50
40 years.
Yeah, he has been bowling almost his whole life. Youth league bowler.
Yep.
You know, once that ball leaves your hand, you have your voice or you have your body
Yep.
to help you make things happen with the ball out there.
Yep.
Craig's using both of those things right now.
He is. One more strike for Craig right here, and Plaza Lanes will close their game out with a 212. Harbor has a max score of 227.
Well, Harbor's giving them a run for their money
They are.
this week. Plaza's having to work at it. Both really strong teams. Last week, strong teams. Everybody's a good bowler, so can't just count on them.
That's true. And he does close it out. Plaza Lanes, 212. Mike Luceni coming up on lane 15. Congratulates Craig on his finish. Now we'll see what Mike can do.
You know, Craig's also a super senior Open Hall of Fame bowler.
Okay, Mike. It's one ball at a time now.
This is it.
Oh!
Mike gets that little fluff over there and knocks the 7 out.
He does. Now, really, a good count right here will close this match out.
Yes, it will. They have bowled very well.
They have.
But you know, it wasn't a given at the beginning of the game.
No.
Started with an open.
Yep.
So this just goes to show you that staying together as a team, especially in Baker, has
Yep.
served them well.
They have. Bowled together real well. Cheered each other on. Cheered the other team on.
They did.
Great sportsmanship
Yep.
by all.
Yep. Having a fun time.
Put a little exclamation point on it, Mike Luceni.
He did. He's coming back for a little accolades and a little pick-me-up for that
One
last
more
ball.
strike will be a 227 for Harbor Lanes.
Mike's getting some chuckles down there.
Yeah, he said something to his
Feeling
team.
good. Well, all of these bowlers are good bowlers, and they keep scoring their heads. They know what it is.
Final score of this semifinal match, Bowling Showcase Adult Challenge, Harbor Lanes 227, Plaza Lanes 212. On paper, and after Plaza Lanes' performance last week,
Big.
I thought it was just going to be like a walkover.
Well, maybe that's what they were thinking. They might not have been thinking that. Everyone has been bowling long enough to realize every game's a new game, right?
And every ball's a new ball.
That's exactly right. So they probably weren't thinking that, and they're all really good competitors. But they might have been feeling a little confident coming back this week. But then when things got started, Harbor started with an open, but then got it together. Plaza had to throw in a few more spares, had an open.
Right?
So
Right.
a little different game.
It's So we'll be back after these messages on Bowling Showcase. We're going to talk to Mike Luceni on how his team performed after that initial opening miss in the first frame on Bowling Showcase. Okay, we're back on Bowling Showcase. Let's talk to the winning team captain, proprietor, and sponsor of this team, Harbor Lanes, Mike Lucenti. Mike, a great performance by your team.
Yeah, they were awesome. I love the way John, who's had a bad knee, threw that strike, and the lefties came through the way I set them up. So they gave me a chance, and luckily for me, they fell down. The other team bowled great. The 10th frame, Craig threw the ball awesome.
They did. And you guys really came back after that initial open in the first frame by Zoanne. She threw a great shot, and then nerves, I'm assuming, got to her. But you guys picked her up, and that's the epitome of a team is what you guys have done.
Yeah, I told her she's fired. She's my general manager at Harbor.
It's not even possible in today's working environment.
That's true, Vicki. That's true. No, she threw a great shot. Actually, all 4 of the shots were fantastic. Nobody carried.
Absolutely.
I got lucky.
That's right. Well, congratulations. We'll see you in the finals in a couple weeks on Bowling Showcase Adult Challenge.
Great fun, a lot of time. Thank you for
Congratulations.
putting on the event. Thank you, Vicki.
All right, you bet. Okay, so next week is our other semifinal match. We have 5-star and the home team, Thunderbowl Lanes.
Yeah, I'm going to be pushing that Thunderbolt team, but...
Now, wait a minute. We're supposed to be unbiased here.
Well, I really am, because almost everybody who's bowling today I've known for many years. And looking ahead every week and seeing who's bowling, it is nobody's game.
That's true.
It really isn't.
That's true.
Some tough teams.
So that should be, on paper, that should be a really good match.
Should be.
Just like this week, though, we thought Plaza was going to be just almost a walkover.
Guns a-blazing, yeah.
And, catch a couple breaks, a couple unfortunate shots.
That's
Things
bowling.
happen.
That's bowling.
That's bowling, that's right.
Yep.
Well, we'll see you next week on Bowling Showcase for the second semifinal match of the Thunderbowl Region here on Bowling Showcase.